What's going on, bottom line viewers? It is Mitch here live, about to mock draft. In fact, the draft is starting right now. I have the 5th overall pick, but I thought might as well go live and throw out one of these underdog drafts, explain what underdog fantasy is. I know a lot of you guys don't know what it is, and I always talk about it. And then on top of that, interact with you guys, answer some fantasy football questions. I'm going to be posting some fantasy football content here on the channel. So let's get to this draft, man. I'm almost up here. So let's just get right into it, guys. What's going on, everybody? Hope we're doing well. Hope we're feeling good. We got D Money in the chat. Mr. D Money himself. We got Steeler Nation in the chat. He likes the Najee Harris thumbnail. Aqua is in the chat as well. He says, "What's up? What's up, Aqua?" So I'm up in one pick. So let's get to it. All right. 5th overall. Cooper Kupp still on the board. Justin Jefferson is still on the board. So that's going to be one of my picks right there. So whoever doesn't get picked is who I'm going to pick. So my pick is Justin Jefferson. So in terms of fantasy receivers this year and in terms of the top 5, I have pretty much decided on the consensus top 4, which to me is McCaffrey, Taylor, Jefferson, and Kupp. Surprisingly, we had Jamar Chase go in the top 5, which doesn't happen very often. But I'm going to take Justin Jefferson right here at number 5 overall as, in my opinion, the top receiver in fantasy this year. I just love the new offense with him at the center of it. Under Kevin O'Connell, I think they're going to move him around, try and get him the football. And I think the biggest difference between Justin Jefferson in the old offense and the new offense will be that Justin Jefferson will see more easy looks than he did previously. More like just easy completions for him to rack up his totals in terms of receptions, yards, touchdowns. Just Kevin O'Connell finding ways to get Justin Jefferson the football, which is what the Rams do for Cooper Kupp. I think that's going to be a big thing for Justin Jefferson in Minnesota. He's my top receiver, and I pick him at number 5. His ADP here on Underdog is 3.8, so he typically goes about the 3rd or 4th pick. Typically the 4th pick, so I got him a pick after he usually goes. What's going on, Turtle? What's going on, Lance? And Aqua is in here. He says, yeah, I don't know why you would take Kupp over Jefferson. Well, I mean, based on last year. Actually, in fact, Kupp has a higher ADP, so most people take Kupp over Jefferson. But a lot of that is based on just trying to replicate what he did last year. Steeler Nation says, Mitch, do you think that Muth gives Heath Miller vibes? Yeah, he does, in a way. He does remind me a bit of Heath Miller, a possession tight end. You know, not a crazy athlete or anything, but feels like a guy that could be there for a long time and be a starting tight end in this league. So I for sure see that comparison in terms of Freiermuth and Heath Miller, for sure. So if you guys have any fantasy questions, let me know in the chat. If you haven't already, Gronk spike the like button. If you don't know the platform I'm playing on right now, it's called Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy. This is a best ball draft. There are 18 rounds in this draft, okay? And how it works is you can pick any position. I don't believe there's any cap on any positions, but you got 18 rounds to pick a team. There is no in-season management on Underdog Fantasy. So what that means is every week they set the best lineup possible for you. So you don't have to worry about setting your lineups. It's really easy. All it is the draft. So that's why, in my opinion, it's a great place to mock draft, because you don't have any in-season management. It's all about the draft. The results come from the draft. On top of that, it's a great place to mock draft, in my opinion, because all of these people are picking, and all these people are smart, and all these people know what they're doing, okay? And this is realistic in terms of your draft. You're not on ESPN or whatever where they're picking Brett Favre in the 2nd overall. So here we go with my 2nd round pick. Justin Jefferson was my first on the board. Currently, we have Mark Andrews, Tyreek Hill, Javonte Williams, Leonard Fournette, T. Higgins, Nick Chubb. So I typically want to leave with a running back in the first 2 rounds. I'm not in love with Tyreek. While I do like Tyreek, I already started with a receiver, so I'm going to go with a running back here. And it's between Javonte and Leonard Fournette. I think I'm going to go with Lenny here. I feel like some people have gotten a little bit soft on Lenny just because he got a little soft in the offseason, if you know what I mean, gaining a few pounds, but he's back down to normal weight. I think that Lenny is a pretty locked and loaded guy where he could see 10 plus touchdowns. He could see 1,000 yards rushing. He could see a bunch of receptions. I think Fournette's a pretty big staple of the Tom Brady offense there in Tampa Bay. I feel like he's a pretty safe pick. He might not have the ceiling that Javonte Williams has overall, but Javonte Williams also carries more risk due to the Melvin Gordon situation. I may go with Javonte Williams every once in a while just for that ceiling case, but I feel like Leonard Fournette is just more locked and loaded in my lineup as an RB1. I believe he was like a top 5 running back last year, if I was not mistaken. But just a solid running back in really all formats because he can catch the ball. He runs for a lot of touchdowns, runs for yards. So pretty much all formats you can trust Leonard Fournette. This format here on Underdog is half PPR, so receptions aren't like the end of the world on this platform because it's not full PPR, but it still matters. So getting a guy that can catch the ball, that's maybe why you go with a Leonard Fournette over somebody like Nick Chubb, for example. What's up, Aqua? He says, gotta take Samaje Perine. Aqua, where do you stand in terms of Perine and Chris Evans? I've heard a lot of Chris Evans Captain America hype this offseason. Where do you stand on that? Najee Harris, where did Najee go here? Najee went, I think, in the last pick in the first round there, Steeler Nation. We're coming up here in a few picks. Let me know who your favorite pick is in this year's fantasy football drafts. Najee is clearly a stud, says Steeler Nation, but I think he needs to work on his speed. It's kind of hard to work on your speed. You don't get, you can only get so much faster. Steeler Nation also says, I got a strong feeling Pickens is going to have a Jamar Chase type of year. I highly doubt that. There's been a lot of Pickens hype. I've never been a huge believer in him, like from what I saw on tape in college, but he does seem to be showing out at camp, so I could be wrong. I think, at most, he like outperforms Chase Claypool. I don't see him being the top receiver on the team this year at all in any way, shape, or form. I think that's Deontay Johnson 100%. So Terry McLaurin just went in front of me. T. Higgins, for some reason, is still on the board. Did he get hurt? Returns to shoulder, participate in 11 and on 11. That's a little scary. First time in training camp. Okay. I think he's okay, though. I don't know why he's still on the board, to be honest. Usually he's gone in the second round. I'm going to take T. Higgins here in the middle of the third as my second receiver. So we got Justin Jefferson and T. Higgins with Leonard Fournette. Feeling pretty good. We got a couple LSU boys, I believe, in the mix. T. Higgins, too, I feel like a very, solid pick. I feel like he will finish as a top 12 receiver in fantasy this year. I just really like the way that the Bengals are situated passing the ball. I think one of the underrated parts about the Bengals passing-wise is that they didn't really become an aggressive passing game until late in the year and until the playoffs when they needed to be. Early in the year last year, they were still very conservative, run first. Joe Burrow had an injury. The offensive line was whack. So they were dealing with that, while I feel like this year, due to the offensive line, the investment they made there to protect Joe Burrow, I believe they're going to be all in on Joe Burrow first offense this year, which means more passing, which means more volume for these receivers, which means that we're going to see both Chase and Higgins finish as wide receiver ones, in my opinion. So I got Jefferson, I got Higgins, and Leonard Fournette. Let me just move this over a little bit here for you guys. Move that up. What's up, everybody? If you're not in the chat, let me know how you're doing, how you're feeling. Late night fantasy mock draft. We are entering the fourth round here. And I have the 8th pick in the 4th round. So Jalen Waddle, last pick in the 3rd round. We got a little bit of a receiver run going. Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, DJ Moore, Jalen Waddle. Steeler Nation says Chase Claypool doesn't act his size at all. His maturity just stinks to be a leader on the offense, but he's great deep, what? But he's great deep out. I don't know what you mean. For splash plays, yeah. For splash plays, he's good. I think the problem with Chase, too, is he only really saw a good Big Ben for a little bit. So I'd like to see him with a better quarterback, potentially a better situation. Steeler Nation's not loving the Pats. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think the Dolphins are talking a little bit too much in their training camp. Tyreek Hill's talking a little bit too much. Justin Herbert goes off the board in the 4th. Yeah, I read about that stuff. That's pretty funny. All right, we're up in a couple picks, so who are we looking at here? We're looking at Cortland Sutton, Marquise Brown, Cam Akers, Gabriel Davis, Deontay Johnson, Allen Robinson. If we want to go quarterback, Lamar is there. Brandon Cooks, George Kittle before a little bit of a tight end drop. How am I feeling right now? I may want to pick up Cam Akers here just because I feel like there's a pretty significant drop off after Cam Akers goes down to David Montgomery. I know a lot of people aren't like huge fans of Cam Akers, and I'm not really either, to be honest, but his upside is pretty big just because he's on the Rams. He's still there, so I'm up. Allen Robinson of the Rams is also there. Deontay, Jerry Jeudy. I feel like it's between Brown, Akers, and Robinson. I think I'm going to take Akers. So I'll just take Akers. Late 4th round. That's about his ADP, though. So, yeah. So I got 2 receivers, 2 running backs. Lance says, pay Lamar to a 3-year deal. Debo just got a 3-year deal, by the way, which is pretty sweet for him. I think that's a solid signing for the 49ers, for sure. I'm happy that Debo got his money, for sure. But I'm also happy for the Niners that it was only 3 years. So that's good too. What's my favorite value quarterback? To be honest, bro, there's not a lot of like value quarterbacks this year. Like everybody's pretty much going in where they should. I feel like just going through this list, I feel like Lamar right now is actually one of the guys that you'd have to pick earlier that I feel like is a good value just because of his upside and his rushing ability. Like I feel like he should be going higher than Justin Herbert. He's now going higher than Mahomes, which I don't think is normal. I think that might just be an underdog thing. Kyler's, decent where he goes. I feel like I feel okay about taking Kyler where he goes just because of the drop off in the draft when we get there. Who else? I've been picking like a lot of this range, like Stafford, Carr. Like I feel like that's a solid back end QB1 type deal where they have more upside than I feel like people think. I do think Daniel Jones in the new offense as like a late round quarterback has some upside. You could make a case for somebody like Trevor Lawrence. You could make a case for Zach Wilson maybe or Mac, but I don't know, man. There's not a ton. Like I don't love Justin Fields, who's like the obvious one because of his rushing upside, but like I just don't love that offense. I don't love what's around him. So I'm not taking Tua this year. I haven't taken him once. I've maybe taken Jameis once or twice. Mahomes is still there. He's the top guy on the board. Kittle is still there as well. Bateman, Metcalf, Mooney, Godwin. Ooh, this is interesting. I'm kind of between Mooney and Bateman. Let me take Mooney. I like Mooney quite a bit. I feel like he's got a good connection with Justin Fields. They were hyping each other up at training camp this week. Clear number one target in his offense. They're going to be losing a lot. They're going to have to pass. I think Mooney's got pretty solid upside. And he's, especially in best ball, I feel like he's more of a big play receiver. He's going to have some big weeks. So, yeah, that one's interesting, though. Where do you guys sit on that? Metcalf, Bateman, Mooney. Godwin obviously is hurt, so like he's not really in that conversation for me. Mahomes, I could have gone Mahomes, but I'm not huge on Mahomes either this year. Aqua says his sleeper pick is Kittle going in the 5th. Going to be healthy again, and we'll have Trey Lance. He'll mostly likely be the safety net for Lance. It's possible. I mean, Kittle's a very talented guy, there's no doubt. But my only question is with him is like, how much volume is the passing game going to see this year? Just because it's a young quarterback in this offense where he's going to run a bit, right? Trey Lance is going to run. Elijah Mitchell's going to run. The 49ers can really run the ball, and Kyle Shanahan likes to stay balanced. So you got to feed Debo, you got to feed Ayuk, you got to feed Kittle. I mean, it is kind of pretty well established that those are the 3 guys in the pecking order, but it's just hard for me to see Kittle just being worth a 5th round pick. I don't know, but I don't hate it just because he's so good, and I'd rather get a good tight end than leave it for the very end. But I'm almost at that point now where I kind of have to, like, unless Dalton Schultz kind of slides a little bit. This is an interesting point in the draft, though. Like, this is kind of where I get a little bit of cold feet, like this section here. I just don't love any of these players. Michael Thomas is becoming more viable for me now just because of the news of him being back at camp practicing and stuff. So he's an interesting guy for me. Pick 68. Big game Jimmy. I hope he doesn't mean Garoppolo. Up in a couple picks. St. Brown, Elijah Mitchell, A.J. Dillon, Adam Thielen. I think I might want to take one of these running backs before they're... Because next round, I think there's going to be a pretty significant drop. So I'm probably going to look to take one of these running backs here, Mitchell or Dillon. That's tough, honestly. I think Dillon has more upside. So if I'm thinking about winning this tournament here, I think Dillon is the pick. Just because if Aaron Jones ever gets hurt, he becomes an RB1. Plus, I think Dillon's also going to catch more passes, even though he has more of a timeshare with Aaron Jones. Typically, you never know what could happen. So, all right, Lance, have fun. Not an A.J. Dillon fan, Steeler Nation, or not a Domino's fan? These lights are so annoying. So we got 3 running backs, 3 receivers. Got lots of receivers here to choose from. Definitely probably going there. Unless Schultz makes it to us, which I don't think is going to happen. Could also go Joe Burrow. We got T. Higgins. Look for that stack. Who else could we pick here? Joey B. Aqua wants the Joey B pick. Thinking about it. He just went, though. Russ is there, another quarterback. So quarterbacks right now, we got Russell Wilson, Tom Brady, Dak Prescott, Matthew Stafford, Derek Carr. Thielen just went. Vontae Smith, Michael Thomas, Drake London, Alan Lazard. Oh, Schultz just went right in front of me. I think I'm going to... I've taken a lot of Drake London this summer. I don't think I'm going to go there just because we could go Tony Pollard and just totally go for it. I'm going to go with Michael Thomas for Turtle, our fourth receiver there. We got a lot of guys that have rather gone to LSU or played for the Saints. Interesting strategy. I feel like I'm Turtle right now drafting. All right. 8th round. We got the 92nd pick. So we have a while. What's up, Nick? How you doing, man? Turtle's happy with that one. I've been working on the roster rankings, by the way. So I've been writing everybody down, ranking every player. That should be coming out this week. What did you think about the Debo contract? I did tweet out a little reaction if you didn't check Twitter. But basically my thoughts are I like it for both sides. I feel like it's wise for the 49ers to pay him for 3 years, given that Debo's maybe a little bit more of a high risk, high reward, injury riddled type player. Like, I feel like the guy could get hurt and that would hurt him significantly. But I also like that the guy got his money. He deserves it. He's an elite weapon. I feel like it's just a perfect fit. I mean, Debo shouldn't want to go anywhere else, and Kyle shouldn't want any other receiver, and that team shouldn't want any other weapon. So I feel like it's just perfect. Jefferson Productions says, "Hi, Mitch. You might remember me. I changed my name to grow my channel. I was basketball and football moments." Well, awesome. I like the new name. And I'm sure Nicholas Gill likes it as well. Okay. Tony Pollard just went. We had Drake London, Christian Kirk, Russell Gage. Russell Gage is a tough one for me now, thanks to Julio Jones. I don't know what to think. I've kind of been passing on Russell Gage now since Julio signed. Maybe we're going to have to grab Julio thanks to all the videos I've made of him. So we got 3 running backs and 4 receivers. As you can see, Leonard Fournette, Cam Akers, A.J. Dillon. And then we got Justin Jefferson, T. Higgins, Darnell Mooney, and Michael Thomas. So we got 2 of Nick's favorite receivers, Justin Jefferson and Darnell Mooney. We've got a Bengal for Aqua. And we've got a Saint, Michael Thomas, for Turtle. That's pretty crazy how that's worked out. It's not even been on purpose, but it's worked out that way. Hunter Renfrow is falling here, and he just went. Chris Olave is still there, but I'm not going to double down on Saints. TJ Hawkinson, Dak, Edmonds, Stevenson, Sky Moore, Devin Singletary, Dawson Knox, James Cook. Stevenson. The people want Ramondre. I was thinking about it. It was between him and Edmonds. I'm going to go Stevenson for Aqua here. Oh, is Darnell Mooney a top 10 to 12 fantasy receiver? Or is it T. Higgins? I'm not sure which one you're talking about. Now we got 4 and 4. 4 running backs, 4 receivers. Let's look at quarterbacks now. Do we got any stacks? We do got Kirk Cousins. So that's going to be my target. Kirk Cousins. I'll be able to get him like in 2 rounds probably. Tight ends. I like Knox a little. Goddard's solid. Ertz is solid. I don't know if we need to pick a tight end though. Nick's high on Mooney. Wow. It's got him over Higgins. Nick, you joined the fantasy league this year? Sky Moore coming up. Where do you guys stand on the Buffalo running backs, Cook and Singletary? Valdez-Scantling, I'm not a huge fan. I prefer Sky Moore there. I don't really know what to do with the Seattle running backs. Still, I guess I prefer Kenneth Walker just because I think he's a beast. Cordell Patterson. You don't like the Bills? I don't know. I was kind of thinking about going with James Cook. I could go... This is tough. I don't really need a running back. I could go with Dallas Goedert. I haven't taken a lot of Dallas Goedert. Sure, why not? Let's go with Goddard. I just got that off, too, by 1 second. We got our tight end now, Dallas Goedert. I think he could be slept on right now. I mean, he is that tight end that's not going very high, that is the most talented out of the rest of the group. Like, he has elite talent, and he showcased that, but it just kind of depends on Jalen Hurts and the availability of A.J. Brown, because you never really know with that guy. I mean, if for whatever reason A.J. Brown were to get hurt, I feel like Dallas Goedert would instantly become like an elite option at tight end. Yeah, not my favorite pick in the world, but I think it's solid. Carr is still there, but we're aiming for Cousins here. I like Cousins this year. I think he's going to have a good season. Do I think that Montgomery/Herbert is one of the more slept-on running back duos? I guess. Nobody really talks about the Bears in general, so I feel like you're probably right. Just because, like, nobody thinks anything of the Bears this year, so it's probably true. I don't love them necessarily, but yeah, they're a solid duo. I'm interested to see how Montgomery does this year, because there was good moments from him last year, and then there were also pretty bad moments from him last year, inefficiency. So we'll see how he's able to bounce back. Herbert was pretty strong, though, as a fill-in and a backup. A.J. Brown equals Pro Bowl, says Jefferson Productions. We'll see. We'll see. Potentially. Jags 1429. Walker's still on the board. Melvin Gordon still on the board. Tyler Boyd, Tim Patrick, Rondell Moore, Christian Watson, Rashad White. Christian Watson hasn't been practicing yet in camp. A lot of people are high on Rashad White. I don't know, man. I think it's just going to be Lenny, to be honest. And I think people are sleeping a little bit on Gio Bernard having a role, potentially, over Rashad White. How do I feel about Kirk Cousins? I like Kirk Cousins. I'm picking him. I think this year he's going to have a big year thanks to, like I said, with Jefferson, the improvement in terms of the pace of the offense, the opening up the offense passing-wise, more passing attempts for Cousins, especially on early downs, not forcing him to be in 3rd and long so much because they run twice in a row on a series. I just feel like Cousins, when he's given the chance, he's a pretty efficient quarterback, and he puts up solid numbers. He's not going to break the fantasy league, but I do feel like he's somebody that's maybe a little bit slept on. Like, you look at him where I just picked him, the next quarterback, like Derek Carr hasn't gone yet, I guess, but Derek Carr is going in front of him typically. After Kirk Cousins, there's a big cliff, in my opinion. Justin Fields is the next guy. So that's kind of like the cutoff point for me to get a quarterback in fantasy this year, is Kirk Cousins. Everyone else is like a backup. Kadarius Toney or Elijah Moore. Elijah Moore goes higher in drafts, but if I were to choose one that I would rather want on my fantasy team, I would take Kadarius Toney. I do like Elijah Moore, but I just feel like the path for Toney to like elite upside and production is very much more clear to me, where I feel like Toney is the most talented receiver in his team. There's a clear role defined for him, and I think Brian Daboll is going to find ways to get him the ball. In New York, the Jets specifically I'm talking about here, New Jersey Jets, we don't know what Zach Wilson's going to be. We don't know if Garrett Wilson is going to be the number one, if Elijah Moore is going to be the number one, what Corey Davis is going to bring to the offense, what the tight ends, CJ Uzoma and Tyler Conklin, are going to bring to the offense, how many catches are going to go to Breece Hall, how many catches are going to go to Braxton Berrios. It just feels like there's a lot more mouths to feed with New York and the Jets, a place where I don't know how good the quarterback is. I don't know how good the coordinator is. In New York, the Giants, I feel like it's a lot more easy to determine that. It's like Kadarius Toney, Saquon Barkley, maybe Kenny Golladay if he's playing, and Wan'Dale Robinson. And that's pretty much it. Okay. What do we want to do here? Do we want to go with Cole Kmet for Nick? My boy Tua is on the board. Rashad White, Mecole Hardman, Matt Madison. Let's go with the Pat. We're going Devontae Parker here, guys. Devontae Parker's the pick. Lighten up camp. Jefferson Prod says they're gonna have to battle in New York. Who are you talking about? That's the problem with having two New York teams. I have to say the team name every time. I'm not a huge Gesicki guy. In real life, I like him. I don't really love him in fantasy this year. I think there's too many options in the offense, and I just feel like his inability to block is going to hurt him, I think, because in that system, you need to be able to block as a tight end. I don't know, though. Who knows, really, but I got Goddard. I'll probably take a couple late-round tight ends to finish it off. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I like Elijah Moore. Don't get me wrong. If I were to bet on who's going to be the number one receiver for Zach Wilson, it would be Elijah Moore. But it wouldn't shock me if Garrett Wilson or Corey Davis were the number one receiver by the end of the year. I mean, both of them have the upside and the ability. I mean, Corey Davis was signed to become that last year. Blocking's not a fantasy stat. Yeah, but it puts you on the field. So what I mean is, like, at best, he's the third option in the receiving game, right? Because they have Tyreek Hill, they have Jalen Waddle, they have Cedric Wilson, they have Chase Edmonds. So, like, at best, he's the third. And then what if he's typically a slot receiver, too? He doesn't really play inline tight end. So, like, are they going to put Mike in the slot and have Waddle and Hill on outs? I don't know. I just don't know. I feel like it's uncomfortable there. Last year he was pretty solid. Okay, we're coming up. Jacoby, Pierce, Pat, Big Pat, Darrell Henderson, Nyheim Hines. What's the Pierce report? Shows vision Saturday. Returning kicks and on inside runs. I don't know. How much upside does the Texans running back really have? I don't know. Josh Palmer, Jahan Dotson. I do have Kirk Cousins. I could go with KJ Osborne here, who's like one of my favorite picks. There's Pat. I don't mind Pat. Hunter Henry. If we want to start a Patriots stack, I just got Devontae Parker. We could still get Mac Jones. I've taken quite a bit of Jameson Williams just because of his upside later in the year. Okay, let's go with Osborne. Let's stack those receivers. I like Osborne too because of the potential of Thielen missing a few games. Like, I feel like he's a receiver 3 in an offense that's going to play a lot of 11 personnel, so 3 receivers. And I feel like with Adam Thielen missing a few games every year, he's going to be the 2 in some games. So I feel like he has upside. And I like what I saw last year from him as a young receiver. He could take a step forward. So he's one of my favorite picks. I pick him like almost every draft. We got Pat. Van Jefferson has something going on. What do you guys think about that in LA? Do you guys think that they're going to sign somebody now? He's seeing a specialist for a lingering knee issue. Could potentially miss multiple weeks of training camp, Ian Rappaport reported. Jefferson underwent a minor knee procedure during the offseason, but was expected to be fully healthy by the start of training camp. Obviously, that's not the case. So he's probably going to fall in the draft here. I saw Sean McVay gave a quick shout out to OBJ, potentially knowing in his mind that Van Jefferson would be hurt. Will Odell come back late in the year for them? Maybe. But you would think they would want to sign somebody maybe a little bit earlier, unless they believe Tutu Atwell can be that guy. They picked him in the second round, but I don't know. Hunter Henry is still there. Robbie Anderson, Jameson Williams is there. Kenneth Gainwell, I'm starting to like quite a bit due to the split that's going on in Philadelphia. There's lots of tight ends. I might go Gainwell here. Just finish my running backs here. That's tough. Yeah, well, let's do it. Why not? Gainwell is the selection. I think if you were already in on Van Jefferson, you should probably buy the dip a little bit. Yeah, I mean, if he falls, I actually did a draft earlier today, and he fell, like, I want to say, like, 20 picks, like 2 rounds, and I picked him a little bit later, because I have picked Van Jefferson quite a bit this year. So yeah, I definitely did buy the dip earlier. I don't know if I want to buy the dip too much, just in case I'm already wrong, because I already have enough shares of him where I'm not, like, trying to get too crazy, but... All right, Gainwell. Lane says, isn't Van Jefferson having issues, though? Yeah. Handcuffs? I don't really have any handcuffs. I kind of do. I mean, A.J. Dillon isn't really a handcuff, but he sort of is. Ramondre Stevenson isn't really a handcuff, but he sort of is. Gainwell isn't really a handcuff, but he sort of is. So, they're kind of like handcuff plus, if that makes sense. I don't look to pick handcuffs in Underdog, though, unless it's like a really late pick, just because, I mean, when you look at the expensive, there's already expensive handcuffs that's gone. I mean, Madison is like the most expensive handcuff. I don't really consider Tony Pollard one anymore. Darrell Henderson is sort of a handcuff, I guess. Sort of. They're all being priced pretty well, like it's not super late. Mark Ingram went super early there. Isaiah Spiller also went already. What's my bet on Deshaun's suspension? My bet? I don't know, man. I kind of feel like he has to be suspended for a year. I don't think that's going to happen, probably. It's tough to say. I feel like he should be suspended for more than half this season, at the very least. So, it's not looking good for him. It's not looking good. Personally, I think if you suspend Calvin Ridley for a season, you should be suspending Deshaun Watson for a season. That's my personal take. But if I were to bet, I would say it's probably going to be a season. It's probably going to be a season. Just because I don't think it would make them look bad if he came back sooner than that, to be honest. All right, so now Jefferson has fallen about 15 picks already. Now all these quarterbacks are starting to come. I don't got any Giants, so I'm not really looking at Daniel Jones. I do like Gus Edwards a little bit, but I already have, like, I don't really love to pick too many running backs. Typically 5, 6 is like the most I'll pick on Underdog. I usually like to stock up on wide receivers. Mac Jones is there too. We got Gus, Corey Davis, George Pickens. I'm surprised George Pickens hasn't gotten picked a little early. I feel like we kind of have to pick a QB right now, though. Let me see. Actually, we might be able to get away with it. Let's go with Gus. We're going to go with Gus, even though he's hurt right now. And then we're going to wait, and then we're going to pick one of these quarterbacks coming back down. Because there's 1, 2, 3, 4 quarterbacks here. 5 quarterbacks, including Wilson. They're all kind of the same, so I'm not too worried about it. So I'm going to get one over here. But Gus Edwards, to me, I like him quite a bit because he has a lot of upside in that offense, in my opinion. Even though he doesn't catch passes, J.K. Dobbins is like, I think his injury is serious. Like, I think it's pretty bad. Gus Edwards is more minor. He should be back by week 1. And in that case, Gus Edwards is going to be like the starting running back. So as long as Gus Edwards is good to go, I feel like J.K. Dobbins might miss some time. And in that case, you're getting a running back on a run-heavy offense that's going to get a majority of the carries. I feel like that's worth a 15th round pick, you know what I mean? Even just the chance of that happening is worth it. So that's kind of why I like Gus Edwards. Deontay Johnson's getting traded? I don't know, man. Really? I haven't heard that. I guess he's not getting a contract right now, but... All right, I'm going to take Mac here. We could go Jameis, though, but I'm going to take Mac. I believe in Mac too much. Take Mac. I do have Devontae Parker, so I'm going to have to try and get Kendrick Bourne. Kendrick Bourne. No running backs. I'm good on running backs. Where do you think Deontay is going to get traded? I feel like I don't really know why the Chargers aren't like more involved in getting a third receiver. Deontay is probably too expensive. But I feel like the Chargers should be going after like Will Fuller or something. Who could afford Deontay Johnson right now? Who has enough cap space? Feel like that might be a next year sort of deal. He's not worth what he'll be traded for. Not if you consider the draft as well, the pick. The Jets already have a ton invested at receiver. The Colts. Yeah, maybe the Colts. That would sort of make sense for the Colts just because they're kind of like, with Matt Ryan, they're kind of in a win now sort of deal. Dallas. They just traded away Amari Cooper. They're going to get Deontay now and pay him $20 million? Bengals, yeah. Fourth receiver for the Bengals. Durkant would want him to go to Miami. Boyd for Deontay? Yeah. Good luck there, Aqua. Would Green Bay be willing to do that? Probably not. They don't do anything. Green Bay doesn't do shit. Do I know the people in the draft? No, I have no idea who they are. I feel like I've seen a couple of them before, potentially. Because I do a lot of these, and a lot of people do a lot of these. So I feel like I've maybe seen one or two of them before. They want Rodgers to suffer? Yeah. Caesar! What's up? He says Green Bay. Green Bay was trying to sign Julio, so maybe Green Bay is in the market. I'm surprised they haven't signed like Will Fuller. Sideline report says Green Bay just loses to San Francisco in the playoffs. Packers fan. Okay. That's true. You're not lying. We've got 6 running backs and 6 receivers. I feel like we have the most running backs in this draft right now. Okay, no, another guy has 6. Actually, the same build as us right now. 2 quarterbacks, 6 running backs, 6 receivers, 1 tight end. I think I'm going to pick a tight end here. But I want Kendrick Bourne, but we're kind of getting weak on tight ends. Should I just try and see if Robert Tonyan's going to be okay? He's on the pup. Knox is long gone. Should I try and get Hurst? I could probably wait to get Hurst. Okay, let's pick Bourne now, and I'll try and get Hurst later. Coming up. What do you guys think of Taysom Hill? I've drafted him a couple times. Brevin Jordan is kind of interesting. Especially without John Mechie. Kadarius Toney's long gone. Long gone. I wish I had him. I don't have him. So we got the cheap Pat stack. We got Viking stack. Do we have any receivers that we could pair up here? I don't think so. Taysom. Looks like Hurst went, guys. But we got Taysom. The GOAT. Oh, Taysom went. Look at all these tight ends flying off the board. I might just have to bail. Pick up Matt Ryan. Who else is there? Just pick Jonnu. Donovan Peoples-Jones. Zay Jones. What round is this? 17. We got 2 rounds left. You could go QB. We could go Ali Cox and Matt Ryan. I feel like Matt Ryan's being a little disrespected here. I'm just going to pick him. I feel like he was on the board way too long. What's his ADP? Holy! He dropped 40 spots in this draft. 40 spots? That's insane. That is insane, bro. 40 spots. I think I've got to go. I don't know. I need another tight end, though. I think I got to go Mo Alley Cox now, just because I picked Brevin Jordan. I kind of like him. I don't know what to think about these Bucks tight ends. Kind of regretting not picking Hayden Hurst now, guys. Which is something I thought I'd never say. Uzoma? Bellinger? What's so good about him? Oops. I have no idea who's starting for the Giants. Is Conklin starting or is Uzoma? I feel like Conklin's got the upper hand. Tommy Tremble. I'm gonna go Brevin Jordan. I like him. I don't know why. You think Bellinger? Should I trust you? That's a wild pick. Hey, we don't pick guys west. We only go for the eastern boys. I guess. I don't know. This isn't my favorite team ever, but it's not a bad team. Maybe not enough at tight end and quarterback, I guess, but I like the running backs and receivers. This is the last pick. Go Eli Manning. Nah, I got Brevin Jordan. That's my pick. That's my pick. All right, guys, that's the draft. So my team looks like this. At quarterback, we got Kirk Cousins, Mac Jones, and Matt Ryan. I had to pick Matt Ryan after they disrespected him. 40 pick drop. In the second round, we selected Leonard Fournette. Cam Akers went in the fourth. A.J. Dillon, Ramondre Stevenson, Kenneth Gainwell, and Gus Edwards. Receiver, we got J.J., a.k.a. the number one receiver in the NFL. T. Higgins, Darnell Mooney, Michael Thomas, Devontae Parker, KJ Osborne, and Kendrick Bourne. Dallas Goedert, and Brevin Jordan. So that's our team. Hope you guys enjoyed the draft. For those of you that did join. Appreciate everybody that did join. If you want to ask me any fantasy questions or anything else, you guys can now. Now is the time. So what I'm currently working on the channel. If you did get value out of this video as well and did enjoy the draft, don't forget to give this a like. Gronk spike the like button. What I'm working on right now, I'm working on top offenses, defenses, roster rankings, a lot of TikToks, a lot of short content. So look out for that stuff. Fantasy content will be coming. I'll do like a little series, and then on top of that, probably a week of like fantasy content straight. And I'll also have my draft board out on Patreon like I do every year. So yeah, look out for that stuff. Is Amari Cooper trustworthy with Brissett at quarterback? I would say no. I haven't taken much of Amari Cooper. I feel like there's a lot of issues there. I understand he's the number one target in that offense, but when you look back at it, you know, they've had issues. Like Stefanski's had issues getting his number one receivers the ball consistently when it comes to Odell Beckham being sort of a similar archetype to Amari Cooper. Amari also is kind of getting at that age where injuries could continue to affect him. Jacoby Brissett isn't my favorite quarterback in the world. They're going to be a run-heavy offense. I just feel like where he's going, it's not so much that I hate Cooper. It's like where he's going, I just would rather pick another player there, if that makes sense. Do you think Debo's ADP is going to move up a bit because of the contract? I doubt it. I think everyone kind of saw this coming if you've been listening to Kyle Shanahan and the Niners talk. It seems like this has been pretty obvious. So I think his ADP is going to stay. I think there's enough concerns for it to not move up because of Trey Lance being new, because of the offense being a little bit run heavy. I do think people expect a little bit of regression from Deebo Samuel this year, but still being a solid pick. So I don't think like he's going to move up. I think there's still too many questions surrounding him for him to move up. Unless they just come out and they say, like, with this contract, Deebo Samuel will be touching the ball 20 times a game. He'll be getting carries. He'll be getting all this stuff. If that happens, then sure, he'll move up. But unless they say that, I don't think he's going to move up. All right. That is it. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed, don't forget to Gronk spike the like button and subscribe if you are new. It's Mitch. Thanks for watching. Peace.